Namaste, lovely mamas. I'm Emma from Becoming Mama Yoga, and today I have another miscarriage support yoga session for you. So I made one video already which is more a yin style, which is good for slow, steady floor or mat-based practice. Particularly good for in the early days after a loss, or if you've got any injuries or separations, softening of ligaments, things that might happen in later pregnancy that you might need to guard a little. So that video is good for that. This video is going to be a lot of a stronger, more dynamic practice to give your thinking mind a break from the heaviness that is the grief that comes along with the loss of a pregnancy, and I imagine for neonatal losses as well. So my aim is to keep you moving enough and focused enough to get a break, a waking break, which can be pretty rare. I am up to nearly 6 months post my 4th pregnancy loss in a row, and each one was just as hard as the last, and I guess the grief lingers and it's easy to fall into a depressive state. And I also have found that the anxiety increases each time this happens, and I imagine for most women it's going to be a similar thing. I'm not saying that we all grieve the same way or feel the same way, because we certainly don't, we're all individual. But I guess my inspiration for today was based on a conversation we had actually as part of my yoga teacher training. When I was doing my 350 hours, we touched on this idea that the yoga gurus tend to think of depression as a state of being stuck in the past, in things that have already happened, and the person has associated negatively with them and just gets into this loop or this pattern that's really hard to interrupt of reliving or living in what happened then, even though it's not still happening now. And then I guess the thing with pregnancy loss, and I imagine neonatal loss as well, is that anxiety is the other side of the coin that we've been given, where the past is hard to deal with, but so is the future, because unless you've changed your mind and decide not to have another child, then you're going to have to open yourself up to the risk of the same thing happening again. And it doesn't happen to a lot of people twice in a row. For miscarriage, at least, that's become my area of expertise. I don't know so much about perinatal loss or neonatal losses, and I guess I hope that the video is useful whatever stage your loss was, and my heart goes out to you and I see you, and I want to give every bit of love I can and every bit of support I can to you while you go through this. So that's what today is. If you are early post-loss, particularly if you got further along in your pregnancy, like 2nd, 3rd trimester, you probably want to take every easy option in this video or go do the yin one instead. If you're needing this video with all of its dynamic movement and focus, then that's fine. Just go easy options and skip any poses that you think might harm, say like a symphysis pubis dysfunction, where the two halves of the pelvis where they meet in the front get sore, particularly with shearing movements where one leg moves away from the other. Or if you've had pelvic floor dysfunction, heaviness in the pelvic floor, take easy options or skip poses. You can always come to tabletop position or lay down in child's pose. Buttocks back on the feet, And chest down towards the mat, arms out long in front of you or behind you. Forehead might rest on the mat, or you can do the same thing with the knees wider apart. So those are all options for rest during the practice. And let's get started. So come to a comfortable seat of your choice. It's nice if you've got a pillow or something that you could put under the bum to lift it up a little so that the hips are higher than the knees, but that's optional, you don't need to do that. Place your hands wherever they're comfortable and close your eyes and just spend a little while coming into the present moment. Inhaling, exhaling. You know what, let's inhale the shoulders right up to the ears, squeeze, 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 and every exhale, I want you to breathe out through the mouth fairly sharply and drop the shoulders at the same time. So, out. And every time you do that, I'd like you to imagine blowing away everything that doesn't serve you right here, right now, on this mat, in this moment. So inhale, shoulders up, exhale, releasing tension, letting go of the past, the future, just being right here, right now, in this moment. You are safe. Inhaling the shoulders high, exhaling. Do that a couple more times at your own pace and really let go of whatever's not serving you. Eyes could be open or closed. And when you've had a good number of breaths there, let's come into a seated cat-cow. So on an exhale, the chin will drop down towards the chest and follow that movement down, rolling down through the spine until the tailbone tucks under. You can use the hands on the front of the legs for leverage if you need it, and that will increase the stretch between the shoulder blades too. And then on an inhale, you're going to roll back up the other way. So the pelvis tilts forwards and we roll up through the spine. And if it's comfortable for the neck, you can look all the way up towards the ceiling or the sky. And exhale, roll back down. And as you get comfortable with that, if you're needing a little bit more focus, let's roll it around in some circles of the torso as well. So you might roll up through the spine, so the arching of the back, as you roll the torso forwards in a circle. And once you get around to the front, you might wait for an exhale and then catch the wave back, rolling back down through the spine as you come back to center. And inhaling, rolling forwards and up, and exhaling, rolling back and down, and reversing the circle. Inhaling, roll up, exhaling, roll down. And once you've had balanced movement on both sides, we'll come back to stillness, centered. Both hands to the mat beside the body. Left arm inhales up overhead and really reach, reach, reach both spine and left arm up towards the ceiling. And then exhale over to the right, keeping the right elbow in close to the body. You can move the hand out along the mat as needed. If you need even more, you can cross the right hand over to the left knee, palm face up. And then check if you've collapsed into the body and see if you can bring more uprightness to your posture. Take a few breaths into that left chest area, opening up through the ribs, and then inhale back to center and exhale, release the hands to the mat again. On another inhale, we'll bring the right arm up this time, really lift, lift, lift towards the ceiling, and then exhale over to the left. Left elbow stays in close to the body, hand can slide along the mat or hand can come to the right knee this time, palm face up. Checking in with the body, seeing what it feels like to be ribs, to be pelvis. See if you can try to root both sits bones, so the bony parts that you're sitting on in your pelvis, both of them down into the mat equally. Can be a little bit of a challenge in a side lean like this. And when you're ready, inhale back up to center, exhale, arms back down. And let's set up a dynamic twist, I think. So if you bring both legs out long and into a sort of V shape, wherever's comfortable. You could keep the knees bent if you need to, or bring them into a nice V in front. Activate through the feet, so our ankles are going to flex so that the toes come towards the face. Sitting up nice and tall. And arms go out to the sides. And we twist on an exhale. So inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine, and then twist the whole torso and let the arms follow the movement around to the left. And inhale back to center, and exhale to the right. And then set that up with your own nice rhythmic breath, twisting from the base of the spine up towards the top. Always starting our twists from the base, and check in with the feet, see if they're still activated. And if you'd like to speed it up, you could always try that sharp exhale again and set up your own rhythm if you like. You don't always have to exhale to one side and exhale to the other side. You could perhaps pause at one side, inhale and exhale sharply out to the right, inhale back, exhale to the right, and then you might stop and you might do it back the other way. So have a play with whatever your body would like in this twist, and start to feel those arms working to keep at shoulder height. And when you're ready, just slow the movement down and come back to center. Now that our spine's nicely warmed up, you can bring the legs back in and just come to hands and knees. And we're going to come to stand for some sun salutations. So you can use the hands to help you on the mat, hands or fists, standing up, rolling up gracefully as you can through the spine, and anchoring the feet into the mat. We'll set up Tadasana first, just in case you're not that familiar with it. So mountain pose, Tadasana, is our foundation for all the standing poses. We're going to make sure that the toes are in line with each other, as though we've got an imaginary line across in front of them. And they're hip width apart, and our weight is centered over all four corners of each foot. Base of the big toe, base of the little toe, two outside corners of the heels. Press down a little, perhaps bending the knees to really see if you can get that balance over all four corners of each foot. Light lift of the kneecaps. The knees can stay ever so slightly bent just so you're not locking at the kneecap. And then pelvis tilted under a little. And we're going to engage the gesture of the 5 bandhas. So it's a pelvic floor lift, and the way to imagine it can be at the level of the cervix, which is about a finger length inside the vagina, just lifting up as though you've got a marionette spring and you're lifting up with that. Navel is the second point. It draws in and up. Third point is heart center, lifting up towards the ceiling. And then shoulder blades are fourth. They roll back down and together. And then the chin lightly tucks. And we just check in last that our palms are facing forward. So that's your base position for any of the standing poses. From here, we're going to move into a round of sun salutations. I'm going to go slow on the first round to make sure that you pick up all the intricacies of each posture, and then we'll move through faster with the breath. So on an inhale, we're going to bend the knees generously and sweep the arms up overhead. You can add a little back bend in here if you like, or just reach for the ceiling. And then on an exhale, we're going to bring the hands to heart center and then follow them down. So the gaze follows, the chin drops towards the chest, and we roll down into our standing forward fold, Uttanasana. On this round, since we're going slow anyway, you could choose to perhaps clasp the hands together behind the legs and get more of a stretch for the lower back. You can bend your knees as generously as you like in this pose anytime you do it. Fingers can come to the mat, whole hand can come to the mat, whatever's most comfortable for you.
If you'd like even more of a stretch, you can place the feet on top of the palms and then lift through the mid and upper back for more of an upper back stretch. Careful not to lock the knees straight. We're just keeping an ever so slight bend to keep protecting the knee joint itself. And then when you're ready, release the hands from wherever they were and bring them to the mat in front of you. We'll move into a halfway lift. So after forward fold, it's halfway lift, straightening through the spine. Head is pointing straight out in front of you, and the torso is at 90 degrees to the legs. The palms might sit somewhere in the shins or the thighs, or you can hold them out behind you, sort of like aeroplane arms. And then exhale, forward fold again. So from here, plant the palms and step the right foot back first into our runner's lunge. Check in with the left knee, make sure it's tracking over the left ankle, again to keep the knee joint safe. So you might wiggle your foot around until you've got a good position there. Check in with the hands that they are even and the weight is distributed evenly. Any wrist issues, you might come onto your closed fists instead, or you might even find some blocks or something to lift the ground up to you so that you're not having to put downwards pressure onto the wrist. Rock back and forwards here a few times, feeling through the right hip flexors, so that's at the front groin sort of area, and enjoying that sort of stretching feeling there. And then from our runner's lunge, we're going to plant the palms again and step back to plank. I'm going to give you a few options for plank. So if everyone wants to come to hands and knees first, you can move from more of a tabletop position if you're needing to protect an abdominal gap. So tabletop position might just rock back and forwards as though you're approaching half plank on your knees. And that might be enough for you today, keeping that dynamic movement going so that you're not placing undue strain on the abdominal muscles. You'll also benefit from making sure to lift through the pelvic floor and lift at the navel in and up towards the spine to engage all those muscles before you come into things that strain them. Second option, after the hands and knees rocking motion, is plank on your knees, known as half plank. So in this pose, your feet, tops of the feet are going to come flat to the mat if that's comfortable for you. If not, do whatever you would like with your feet. And then you're just going to find a place where you can lean forward so that the wrists are stacked under the elbows and under the shoulders. Nice straight line through the spine. Check in with the neck that you're not holding any tension. Perhaps turn side to side, not up and down, and just check. And once again, you can engage the pelvic floor and core to help you hold this position for a little bit. If you're needing more than that, you're going to tuck the toes and come up to full plank on hands and feet. And it's the same general principle where we want to have the wrists under the elbows and the shoulders to protect all of those joints. And then a nice straight line down through the body from the base of the skull to the heels. If you're struggling to maintain that, always an option to come back to the knees or take a rest. So from your plank position, there are a few options. Maybe come to the knees again for a rest while I explain the two options to come down from plank. So first option, wherever you are, is to lower straight to the belly with the elbows tucked in close to the side, and your hands should end up somewhere underneath your shoulders. So from there, we will be inhaling to come into cobra. The other option from plank pose, whichever option you're in, from plank is chaturanga. So it's lowering into basically a half push-up. Once again, the elbows are in close to the torso. So from there, you can place the feet, the tops of the feet to the mat, or you can rock forwards over the toes and come into upward facing dog. So in up facing dog, the main things to remember are that the pelvis and the knees are still up off the mat. So two options from plank, belly to cobra, or chaturanga to upward facing dog.
If you have fussiness going on in your wrist, you can always do any of those options for plank on the elbows, and you would probably come down onto your belly and into cobra rather than put extra pressure on the wrist in upward dog. So now we've got those issues sorted out, options sorted out, sorry. Let's come back to that plank position. And from your version of plank, come into chaturanga to up dog or all the way to the belly and inhale bhujangasana, cobra. So in cobra, we don't really want to have pressure on the hands. Ideally, you would be able to lift them off the mat. Even if that's not going to happen for you, just gesture of or moving towards being able to lift the hands off the mat. We're using the erector spinae muscles to lift, and that gives these muscles down along the sides of the spine a chance to work out. And wherever you are, we're going to power up to plank next. So you'll be tucking the toes, come up to hands and knees, half plank or full plank after engaging the core muscles. So we're going to lift through the pelvic floor, lift the navel in and up a little bit, and then power back on up to our plank position. We're going to exhale and bring the tailbone up nice and high. Move the feet apart a little bit if you need to. Hands might walk back in a little bit for you. And generously bend through the knees on this first downward facing dog and press the belly back towards the thighs and then straighten the legs. And that should get you into a really nice even position. Check in with the hands. We want to have weight distributed evenly over both hands, and you might not have your heels on the ground, and that's perfectly fine. Not everyone does. Pressing back, elbow creases towards the front. So from downward facing dog, then we step the right foot forwards between the hands, and if needed, you could have some blocks to help lift the earth up to you, or if you otherwise have wrist fussiness, you could come up onto those fists again here. Let's rock back and forwards on this side as well, checking in with the right knee while we do that, trying to keep it above the ankle rather than forwards from the ankle, and feeling into the left hip flexors this time. Looking forwards between the hands, we're going to spring that left foot up to meet the right foot. Check that the toes are all in their nice straight line again, as though you're at the starting line for a race. Not that you use the race, of course, but good imagery. And we're back in our forward fold. From here, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale back to forward fold. And then inhale, sweep the arms up high overhead. So that was round one. We're going to do 3 more rounds moving with the breath, and I will cue you a bit less so that we can keep moving on each breath. When you're ready, inhale deeply, perhaps a little back bend if you'd like it, and then exhale, roll down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time, the left foot is moving back first into our runner's lunge, and then the right leg is going to meet in plank. From here, we exhale to come down to the belly or chaturanga to up dog. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, tuck the feet, engage the pelvic floor and core, and power up to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here if you need it. And then on an inhale, we're bringing the left foot forward into our runner's lunge, and then springing up to meet both feet at the front of the mat in our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees generously. Inhale, arms up overhead. That was round 2. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold.
Inhale, runner's lunge. Right foot back this time. Exhale, plank pose. Take a breath here, and then on another exhale, we're going to lower to the belly or chaturanga and inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale, back to the belly. Tuck the feet, engage pelvic floor and core, powering up to plank, and exhale into a downward facing dog. When you're ready, look between the hands, right foot inhaled forwards to our runner's lunge, and then bring the left foot up to meet it. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees generously and inhale, arms up overhead. One more time. This time the left foot will go back first. So on an exhale, rolling down through the spine. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms. Inhale, left leg back. Runner's lunge. Exhale, plank pose. A breath here, and then we'll exhale down to the belly or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, cobra or up dog. Exhale, back to the mat. Tuck the feet. Inhale, power up to plank. Exhale, roll up into downward facing dog. And then when you're ready, inhale, left foot forward between the hands. Right foot comes up to meet it. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, thumbs to heart center. From here, I'm going to challenge you to take a few steps backwards without looking at the mat or the floor. We're going to do it really mindfully too, taking the weight onto the left foot first, lifting the right foot, and then carefully stepping it back, feeling everything the right foot does, from when the toes touch the ground, ball of the foot, heel, taking the weight onto the right foot, and then left foot stepping back. No looking down if you can help it. And then maybe one more step back until you end up at the back of your mat. You might have to check for this one. And after our beautiful mindful step backwards, I'm just going to step forwards a little in case I'm going out of screen here. So once we're at the back of the mat, you can release the hands. We're going to go into balancing pose, Garudasana, eagle. So from here, let's take the weight onto the left foot. Actually, let's do the right foot first. Take the weight onto the right foot, cross the left foot over in front, and place the left toes on the right side of the mat. That might be your balance today, or you might continue wrapping the leg around to wherever suits you. You might be able to put the toes on the right leg, or you might not. Fix the gaze on a non-moving spot in front of you, called a drishti, and that helps you to keep your balance and anchor through the four corners of the right foot. And then if you're happy to, on an exhale, you can bend the legs a little. Now, arms out long in front of you at shoulder height, and left arm comes underneath the right arm, and you might just bend that left arm while we try to keep our balance. Gaze nice on a fixed point. So you might just bend the arm and stretch here, or you might wrap the arms around each other. Your hands may or may not come to meet, and that doesn't really matter. And if you'd like to increase the stretch between the shoulder blades, then you can inhale both arms up and exhale the hands away from the face. Breathe here for a few moments, seeing if you can challenge yourself to really anchor down through the four corners of the foot. And perhaps a few baby pulses here before you inhale and release everything. And shake it all out. Ready for the other side. So this time we're going to take the weight onto the left foot, cross the right foot over,
and perhaps it then wraps round further, or that might be the extent of your balance today. Remember the drishti, the focal point that's not moving in front of you. Wrapping the leg around to wherever it would like to go, and then this time, our right arm is going to cross under the left. And if you notice a difference on different sides, that's perfectly fine and natural. Just do whatever your body feels is best. And if you'd like to, you can try wrapping the arms around just to wherever's comfortable. Inhale the arms up, exhale the hands away from the face. And breathe here, noticing any areas of tension. See if you can encourage a release. Maybe use your breath a little to encourage movement of anything that feels stuck. And maybe do a few pulses, check in that your weight's centered over all four corners of the left foot. And inhale to release. And if you come out less gracefully than you want to do, that's perfectly fine too. Now, from here, let's make sure we're nicely at the back of our mat. Roll down through the spine on an exhale and walk the hands forward into our downward facing dog. Perhaps you pedal out through the feet a little, really stretching through the calves, really pressing the belly back towards the thighs to stretch through the spine a little. And then when you're ready, come to your version of plank. It might be hands and knees, it might be half plank, it might be full plank. Just make sure that you're centered over the hands. If you're up on the hands, if there's fussiness in the wrists, you could come down and do any of those options on your forearms. So from our plank pose, we're going to go into a side plank, and everyone might like to rest on their knees again for a moment while I just explain the options here. So from either forearms or hands, we'll do knees first. So from either tabletop or knees, it's going to be the same. We're going to swivel the feet around to the left and then stack the knees and turn into our version of side plank. The right arm might go up high, or perhaps you'll rest it on the waist, wherever's most comfortable for you. Once again, any fussiness in the wrists, come down onto the elbows, or if you were on your elbows to start with, you can swivel the feet to the left and the hands around to the right. Side plank. From here, you can lift and lower, doing a few pulses to work the abdominal obliques if you'd like to. Another option is right leg out long. So the leg that's on the top would be the leg that goes out long. And once again, pulsing. So other option for those who were in plank on the feet, you come up here and we're just going to twist the feet. So twist one side, stack the feet, and you're into your side plank. The right arm can be up high or can be on the waist. Again, the full side plank can also be done down on the elbow. And you can either do pulses here, or you can overbalance, get back up again. And you might use your right wrist or fist to steady you while you lift that right leg up and down in pulses. Keeping the toes pointing up towards the face when you do it will help you to engage the glutes a little bit more. Checking in any fussiness in the neck, and you might back off a little. Maybe you'll rest the hip to the mat. If anyone's been going for a while on this side, feel free to have a rest down on the mat for a moment. If you'd like to take it even further, you can draw circles with that leg, whether you're resting on the hip or up in your side plank. And then when you're ready, from wherever you were, legs out long, one leg out long, or both knees stacked, you're just going to come back to center and set that up on the other side. So once again, you can be on your forearms, you can be on your wrists for any of these options.
And knees, anyone on the knees is just going to swing the feet off towards the right side this time and come into that side plank. One leg can go out long. You can do pulses, or you could even do the leg lifts here if you wanted to. Those up on the toes are just going to twist the feet and come into that side plank. Option for pulses, option to bring the left hand down in front of you, and leg lifts. Once again, keeping the ankle bent, the toes towards the face. You can come down onto the wrists at any point if it's too much on your wrists. You can come down onto the hip if it's too much for you and you need a rest. See if you can get some nice balanced movement on both sides, doing whatever option you took on the other side. And then back to center once again. Everybody deserves a rest now, so we can come into child's pose, knees together, sit back onto the buttocks and lean forwards. Arms can be back by your side, forehead towards the mat. Bring the earth up to meet you with stacked fists if you'd like, or send the arms forwards. Knees can move apart if you'd like to stretch through the upper back a little more. Few deep breaths. See if you can get a 360-degree breath going if you can. Opening up through the front of the chest, the back, the abdomen as well for that matter. So the whole front of the torso, the whole back, and the whole left and right sides. And then when you're ready, back to hands and knees, cross the ankles and press back into a comfortable seat. Once you're here, feet flat on the mat, knees high, walk the buttocks forwards a little to try to get off the fleshy part of the bottom. So we're basically trying to put the sits bones right on the mat for a nice stable base for boat pose. So your boat pose today, maybe your core has had enough at this point. You might put your arms out long in front of you at shoulder height, about shoulder width apart. So imagine that you had like a beach ball or something between the hands, and you might just lean the torso back a little bit, just engaging lightly through the abdomen. This might be the extent of your boat pose, or maybe if you'd like to take it a bit further, you might lift the legs so they're parallel to the mat. If you're starting to get a bit shaky through the core, that's probably enough for you, and you might take a rest. You might go back into it, maybe not. It's up to you, it's up to your body. If you need to take it even further, it's not really in my practice right now, so it's a little bit tricky for me to show you, but the full extent of boat pose is to straighten through the legs with the arms still out long. You could use the hands either behind you on the mat or on the lower legs to help straighten. I've got a very rocky boat today. To help you straighten or help you hold the posture, taking a little bit of weight off the abdominal muscles. When you're ready, come back, feet to the mat, scoot forward a few little steps so that you've got room behind you, and we're going to either use the hands to come down onto the back or arms out in front like boat pose once again, and roll down vertebra by vertebra using those core muscles to get you all the way down onto the mat. From here, we'll set up for bridge pose. So we're bringing the feet flat to the mat, knees high, and around about one hand length away from the buttocks and around about hip width apart. So feeling nice and stable there. Then we can put the hands down by the sides, either palms face up or palms face down, yogi's choice. From here, check that your spine is nice and straight and aligned. Wiggle around on the mat until you've got that. And then just a few practice rocks of the pelvis to practice this motion of getting the back to flatten against the mat, and then releasing, and then once again flattening and releasing. And that might be the extent of your bridge pose today. Or if you're ready to, you can exhale and roll all the way up through the spine until you come to the full Setu Bandhasana.
So the points at the front of the hip here, the iliac crest, they are going to reach up and the glutes will engage a little, and that helps us to get our gluteal muscles nice and strong. And you could add a pulse in here if you would like to, or if that's a bit too strong for you today, you can settle for a dynamic bridge pose where you exhale to roll down and inhale to roll up, and you just keep moving with the breath, keeping the brain nicely engaged on the task of trying to roll vertebra by vertebra. It's an interesting exercise if you've not done it before. Also, try to keep the knees at about the same width apart. So imagine that you had a block or something perched between your legs, or get an actual block if you've got one, and pop it between the legs so that the legs stay at the same width as you raise and lower. So options for pulses, options for lift and lower. Another option, if you need to go any further, is to take the weight onto the left foot and lift the right leg out straight, toes pointing away from the body this time, and you can pulse that whole leg up and down, working through the glutes and the core for that matter, and then replacing that foot on the mat, taking the weight onto the right foot and doing the same with the left leg. Breathing through it all. If you notice any breath holding, perhaps you back off that pose and get the breath back before you try again. Once you've had balanced movement, bringing both feet back to the mat, exhale as you roll down through the spine. Now, just a little counter pose for that. We're just going to bring the knees in close to the chest and roll side to side. Perhaps draw a few circles with the knees to really massage out that spine, really lifting the tailbone off the mat a little, trying to counterpose our back bend from the bridge. Or you could even roll back and forwards along the spine a few times if that feels nice for you. And then coming back to stillness on the back, feet really close to the buttocks this time, knees high. Arms can be either like hands interlaced behind the head like a nice little pillow cradle thing going on, or arms out long if you're not going to be in the bushes like me, so that your upper body is basically T-shaped. So let me try this one for you. So wherever we are, we're going to exhale the knees over to the right as we look out over the left hand, or if the left hand is behind the head, just turn towards your left side. And then inhale back to center. And then exhale the knees off to the left while looking out to the right. Inhale back to center, step the feet a little bit away from the body, and then once again, exhaling down, looking in the opposite direction, inhaling up, exhaling down to the other side, always looking in the opposite direction to the knees. And then inhale back to center, walk the feet out again, and same thing, exhaling to one side, inhaling to center, exhaling to the other side, inhaling back to center and walking the legs out nice and long for Shavasana. When you get here, really walk those feet out to get the maximum length out of your spine and legs, and then align the spine nice and straight. Hands by the side, palms face up. Tuck the shoulder blades in underneath the body. Close the eyes if you're comfortable. We'll just do a body scan, bringing the attention to right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, top of the foot, sole of the foot, ankle, lower leg, knee, upper leg, right side of the pelvis, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, top of the foot, sole of the foot, ankle, lower leg, knee, upper leg, left side of the pelvis, front of the torso, back of the torso, left side of the waist, right side of the waist. Right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder. Left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, whole spine, from the base of the spine all the way up to the neck. Chin, nose, right cheek, left cheek, right eye, left eye, eyebrow center, forehead, right ear, left ear, whole head, whole body sinking into the mat. And if you'd like to, you could bring one hand on top of the other on the belly. Inhaling, let the hands lift. Exhaling, press gently with the hands to aid the exhale. Inhaling and then exhaling, pressing down a little. It's a great way to calm the nervous system. Just putting a little extra gentle pressure through the belly as we breathe out. Trusting that the sympathetic nervous system will respond to this gentle massaging of the belly, with extra pressure, calming the whole system. 3 more breaths at your own pace. Ready, gently bring one hand up to the heart, other hand can stay resting on the belly. Repeat to yourself, I am here now. And bring your attention into the feet, wriggling them a little, introducing some movement. That's moving through the hands. That's walking the feet in towards the buttocks, knees high. And then rolling onto one side. Allowing the eyes to open gently at their own pace. Pressing into the mat as you come up to a comfortable seat. I really hope that this practice has made a positive impact on your day. And I'm sending you all my love and all the best wishes for you in your recovery and your future. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.